Hey, so this one is one that came from watching an interesting YouTube video, and it was on my old love, Sex and the City. So if you haven't watched Sex and the City, this might not be something of interest for you, but it does tie to one of the characters and what potentially comes across as INTJ. So I'll be putting the link to this video in the comments or in the description section just so that you can go and look at it for yourself. But anyways, the topic today will be INTJs and the potential correlation with Miranda Hobbs. So as much as all of us want to be the sexier characters or the ones that have more glamour. Yes, we can all pull that up every once in a while, and we're not defined by a certain stereotype on any level. But the characteristics that came up through this video really spoke to me that it's interesting because this video is 20 years after the Sex and the City or TV show was finally done. And what's interesting is they mentioned that this Miranda character is the one that's the most relevant nowadays. And the characteristics that they bring forward is actually quite reminiscent of what we have talked about in these videos and what we have kind of felt in our own lives. So I'm going to be using a lot of notes because I had to write them down as I was watching. But she is a cynical pessimist. And she's a lovely cynical pessimist, but she does bring through the, big elephant in the room, or she brings through the reality of what she sees in a situation where a lot of her friends are glossing that over or trying to make excuses for things, and she's seeing it black and white and just can't help acknowledging it. The other thing is nonconformist. So she blazed a trail on her own. She had an amazing home. I mean, obviously we have to use social license here on the set, and what they got for how much they make, we don't know. But she is a lawyer, and she decides to go and build or get her own home, and everyone's wondering why she's doing it without a man, and everyone's dumbfounded that there's no man that's going to back this. And I find that very refreshing because that's something that I think a lot of us potentially deal with, that the man is supposed to be the one that's taking care of us. And then the other part where conversations, she gets upset because conversations become way overwhelmed with the concept and the relationships with their friends' dating experiences. And it's fine for a while, but after a while you get to the point where it's like, okay, we're rehashing the same things over and over again. We start seeing trends and we're like, hey, this is not something that needs to be talked about ad nauseum. Then the social expectations thing. So we don't necessarily sit there and fill the niche, obviously, as the prototype for femininity, and a lot of the others on that show do. And she comes across as completely her own and unique, and not asexual, but sexual in her own way. And I think that's great. She owns whatever decision she makes. So this is with regards to, say, her decision to have a baby when she got pregnant. And obviously that speaks to me because that was my experience as well. But the way she decided to do it on her own terms, and she understood the vulnerability that she had in not being the same as other women, in totally accepting this lovely, journey into parenthood. Instead, she was analyzing it, and then she came to her own understanding of what her version of parenthood would be. And I think that's so amazing. Another one is the lack of touchy-feely. She can't handle, the hand-holding, the PDA, that type of thing. It's great once in a while, but someone who's overly mushy, we literally can't understand why they need to do that in public. It's already understood that we care about each other. We don't need to, drape ourselves over each other. And the other thing is potentially making guys, the cynicism side of things, make it where when she's dating, it's difficult for her to have those guys break through the veneer and the cynical side of things, which, to be honest, that's a rightful situation. More often than not, you do get a lot of superficial dating experiences. But when the right one comes, she allows him to slowly break that door open. So I have an example of that where with my now husband, when we first started dating, I was just kind of like dating casually with him and seeing where it went. But the thing that was funny is that there's a particular time where he had 2 wine glasses with 2 wine charms on each glass, and they were sitting beside the sink. And from my past experience and the issues that I'd gone through, I immediately assumed these are from a past date. And I just got to see, okay, that's where his head's at. He's completely not serious, and that's fine. But it did bring up a whole bunch of emotions that came from past bad dating experiences. So with that, it turns out that he had actually set them aside for me ahead of time. And I didn't know how to take that because I thought it was actually cheesy that he cared that much to make an impression. So it's either our INTJ that we're cynical because we've already gone through some crappy stuff, and then now we're trying to understand what a normal person is or a caring person is. And that's kind of on our side. But it doesn't reduce the radar on whether or not we're going to keep analyzing to make sure that this is consistent. But I see that with this Miranda. Then the idea of being brutally honest, it comes through a lot. She cares very much about her friends. She's so loyal. She loves her close-knit friends, and she'll be there for whatever. But she does call out on when her friends are just over the top on stuff that she's sick of hearing over and over again. Plus, she also talks, or she can also take it, where if someone is saying something harsh towards her, and it's true, she'll be able to take it. And I think that's actually a strength for us, is that we don't have that feeling where our feelings are going to be hugely hurt. We rather look at the value that is coming from that dialogue. Someone is actually being able to be really honest, and you can sense that, as opposed to being just mean, and be able to take that and incorporate it. So also I like that she comes across as being authentic to herself. She can be abrasive. She's resistant to going with the flow. So just because other people are doing it doesn't mean she is. I'm going to use a superficial example where she rarely goes out with her other, well-dressed friends, and she's this showstopper. She usually makes a comment about how she's just learning to fit back into her jeans after having a baby, or she is more subdued in what she wears, or she's wearing corporate wear. And I think that speaks a lot to the INTJ female about how our minds work. We don't want to be the peacocks in the group. And I like that she owns her intelligence and she loves that about herself. And I just want everyone, like, if you are interested, to take a look at this video. I think that this person, it's the Take by Screen Prism, but again, I'll put that in. She did a really good job of speaking to this, and I'd love to hear others' comments on whether or not they feel that this would resonate with them as an INTJ female. So anyways, thanks so much. And as always, if you have a video request, just make sure that you put it as video request in the comment section. Thanks.